Okay, it's Di Jones from Alchemy 2 here, speaking to the wonderful Lucas Meadowcroft from Tribu about AI and the connection to the workforce. So, Lucas, thank you so much for coming on for a chat today. We have some really exciting news from your business in terms of what's happening there. So, first of all, why don't we get into what AI means from your perspective in the Tribu world?
Yeah, thanks for having me here, Di. I really appreciate it because at the end of the day, what we're doing and what you're doing is very similar lines when it comes to employee staff, effectiveness, productivity. The whole AI buzzword is seriously scary still for a lot of people.
Very much so.
Because people don't understand what AI is, or AR, VR, AI. They're all acronyms, right, in the tech space. And techs love to use acronyms. And so I guess why I love this opportunity to chat with you around, I guess, the workforce and employees and what does it mean to them is because it's actually not a scary thing. It's actually a good thing. And so if you would ask me what artificial intelligence is or what it means to me, I put it under the category of innovation. So this is process improvement. So we're not here to replace people's jobs and then take all that away and replace it with robots and people making cups of tea for you, which some people think AI is, which essentially, okay, you could go down that direction. But when it comes to business, it's about process improvement. So how can we take a mundane task? Let's call it, hey, we've been using Excel spreadsheets for the last 30 years in our company, and we use multiple spreadsheets every day, and we take data from one spreadsheet and we put data in another spreadsheet. If we can remove those spreadsheets from that organization or that role for that company or that person and get them to do more value added input into the company, then we're not replacing their role or what they, essentially what they're doing every day, manual data handling. We're getting them to do more value added aspects for the business. And to me, it's just innovation, and AI is one technology that sits under process improvement for organizations.
Absolutely. And machine learning is also another component of that, isn't it? Where the AI recognizes that there's a task to do, or in organizational speak, it's workflows. The workflow is happening. Humans make the decision on what that workflow is. So they're doing it every day. It's just simply taking that workflow and going, instead of you and I having to make 4 decisions on that particular workflow, we can tell the system that these are the parameters that we would make that decision, and therefore the system makes it for us much faster than we could ever do that. So it's not taking away the human element, it's actually turbocharging it a bit, isn't it?
Absolutely, and you hit the nail on the head. When you talk about 10 times faster, like 1,000,000 times faster than a human can even process this information. Essentially, machine learning, and you spoke about it really well. We're just teaching the machine to learn something that we already know. Yep. So we already know the process that we go through every day. We already know the, if we take the information from this system, we put it into this system, we connect the dots, or we pass the data that's in our business. Maybe it's from a sales process. We pass that data down to a service delivery person, and so they can actually then work for that client. We're already doing that aspect. So from a machine learning perspective, it's just like we're just connecting the dots and putting that workflow in place and removing that manual handling of that task that happens every single day in every single company worldwide.
Yep.
We're just removing that mundane task.
Yeah. Now, the system that you have running now is currently for our IT service providers, MSPs, friends in the network. Obviously, for those who aren't in the MSP space, this is actually really good information for you too, because anyone who has a process in their business, anyone who has people making decisions on a repetitive basis, Lucas is your man to have a chat to, because there's a lot of efficiencies of scales that can be achieved from this technology, and it can go across multiple industries. But the focus of today is for our IT friends, because it is primarily at this stage that the rollout that you're currently doing is about helping help desks optimize their efficiency. So one of the things you mentioned just then, Lucas, was people being worried about machine learning or AI taking over their jobs and then becoming redundant. Now, in my experience of lots of redundancy conversations, I've not had this discussion about redundancy with the tech space. It's a growing area. There is so much demand at present. If you have any level of tech skills, you're probably being chased by every recruiter in town. So it's not a case of, hey, we implement this system and then we sack 6 people. Because what happens is when we find ways to be more efficient in an organization, we say, great, we now have 6 people that we can shift up a gear into the space that they want to be working in, that help deliver our strategy, that help align our people. And for your techs, I imagine the job of someone who would normally manually do this role, they'd have to, look through the tickets each day, make decisions about which tech they go to. They probably don't get very much time to work with their techs as a result of having to constantly keep those service level agreements in place, hit the timeframes, and look at what's coming in all the time in the ticketing system. The advantage of this is that ticketing system can do 90% of the job. I'm sure there is still a component when they have to go, oh, hang on, let me look at that one and make a decision. But that frees them up to have time to work with the rest of their team so they can actually help solve problems, upskill them, check in on them, make sure everybody's happy, make sure the team are moving in the same direction to achieve the goals of the organization. And that is the goal of every organization, is to simplify, move in the same direction, lift up, and achieve the higher level objectives.
If you were to ask anyone at any company right now, let's go look at that admin task that you do. Do you say, do you love doing that? They won't turn around and say yes. They might, if the boss is in the room, they might say, yeah, I love doing that.
I love filing. It's awesome.
As soon as the boss is out of the room, it's like, oh, I hate this, but you know what? I have to do it.
Necessary evil of the job, part of the good and the bad. Yeah. So why can't we take away those tasks that are monotonous and mundane and are not part of a human's in nature? We don't like to do the same thing over and over and over. We don't want mental RSI. So why can't we take those ideas, give them to someone like you and say, make them faster, make them more efficient?
Let me stop doing that mundane task. Let me focus on more value added to the business of my role. Absolutely. So essentially, you hit the nail on the head when it comes to, I guess, what we're trying to achieve in this industry. But we're actually building AI for help desk. So right now, our target is IT support help desk and the managed service provider help desk. We're actually building AI for all help desks. So every company in the entire world literally has a help desk of some sort. Whether it's you taking a phone call and talking to a customer, as like a small business, or when you get to a larger size and you have a team of 2 to 5 to 10 in a call center or a help desk, doing customer service. It could be in fashion, retail, boutique. It could be selling shoes online. It really doesn't matter. You're building a help desk, but you don't realize it at the time. But you end up building a help desk.
We call it customer service too, don't we?
Exactly.
It's customer service. It's how do we keep our customers happy as quickly as possible and meet their expectations of us?
Exactly, that's right. And so we're essentially aiming to remove all the mundane tasks that happen in a customer service position within a help desk. So right now, we're targeted on the IT support world. It's what we've been doing for 17 plus years. It's why we started down on this journey to solve the mundane tasks that happen in our help desk and in our previous MSP every single day of the week. But then we know in 12 months, 18 months from now, that will just transform, because we've already started getting inquiries from, we got inquiry last week from a hotel management e-commerce platform. So we know it's just algorithms, it's just data, right? As long as you got data, we can teach the machine to learn that data, and we can go off in those directions. To answer your question from before, essentially for the service delivery manager, what the platform does today is removes what you spoke about. A ticket comes into the service help desk, and that person, physically, a physical human being, a service delivery manager, sits there in every IT help desk globally. So you may just think about that for a second.
So many people.
Manually sits there. A ticket comes in. They read through the whole communication stream of what their customer said, because as an end user submitting a ticket to your IT help desk, you would just say, my computer doesn't work. What the hell does that mean? That service delivery manager has to go back and forth to you a few times. What the hell does my computer doesn't work mean? And then categorizes that in the system and then allocates that to a person. We're using both machine learning and NLP technology to have that conversation with you as an end user to really understand, well, what does a computer not working mean? Push it through the system, then we categorize it, and then we automate the process, and then we remove that function from the service delivery manager. Does a service delivery manager want to do this job? No, they don't. They hate it, but they have to do it because no one else is going to do it. The tech's not going to put their hand up and say, I really want to do that. Someone has to do it. We know SDM can really add value to the customer and to the techs. You mentioned before, we talk about workforce, we talk about engaging with employees, and SDM really should be there about mentoring, educating, upskilling the techs, they don't have time for that right now.
Yeah.
And so if we can remove this Monday task, which is 80-90% of the role every day, and then get them to use that time more effectively with mentoring techs, to me, it's an absolute win-win.
Even for the techs particularly as well, because when you talk to any technical person in their environment and they have one person who's senior to them, they want as much time with them as they can so they can develop themselves and actually move forward. They don't want to be stuck in the same role forever either. The SDM doesn't want to be doing tickets. The tech doesn't want to be doing tickets, but they do want to work together and actually leverage their combined skills to do things that are more interesting for themselves and for the business. And collectively, from a societal perspective, the more we are moving on, the more we are developing, the more we are sharing learning, the better off we all are. So there's nothing worse than having everyone sort of pigeonholed into little boxes where they just rubber stamp away every day. We want a little bit more as human beings from our lives. So this solves a problem for so many people. That keeps the customers happy, keeps the SDM happy, keeps the tech happy, and oh my God, it even makes the business grow and takes away some of the risks, I guess, associated with human error. So for instance, if I'm running out the door and I'm an SDM and I'm trying to get a few tickets done, there's a potential that I may make an error in that, which then goes to a tech who tries their hardest to fix it, but may not be the right person. So that then bounces back. The customer gets unhappy. I realize I've made a mistake. The tech feels a bit silly because they couldn't handle it. It's a situation that can be resolved or mitigated very easily. Yeah.
Even simple things like, and this is not calling any SDM out if you watch this, but you'll know what I'm talking about. You love to cherry pick and talk and deal with customers you love to deal with. So people who you build a relationship with and you have that conversation, you can build that relationship over a long period of time, they get prioritized. No reason, there's no real, I guess, logic around it. It's you're emotionally connected with that person. So of course you got to go help out that customer that you've got that relationship with first before, categorizing and assigning the other tickets that are sitting there waiting for you. So it just naturally happens, right? And so the great thing about machines is there is no emotion. Yes, we can teach it sentiment and teach it how to look out for the emotion that's coming in from an angry customer or a happy customer, but essentially it's logic, right? And so it removes that we talk about human error or even making decisions that we just normally logically make because that's how our emotion drives us. That's all removed. So then we can 100% focus on the task at hand, literally the task at hand, and action immediately.
It also removes the time frame required to get up to speed. So say you've got a new SDM coming into a business and they have to learn about how that business works, how that business does business, how do you prioritize certain customers and clients. If the system is already set up from a collective perspective, everyone's involved and says, this is how we do the business here, that system will guide that SDM and say, well, here's the way the rules are going. That SDM can actually hit the ground running much faster because they're not having to have that learning period as well in that particular area of the business. They can dedicate that energy to something more important.
Absolutely. They're happier, customers happier, the staff are happy, everyone's happier. Absolutely. Because you feel fulfilled, right? When you're doing a Monday task every day, does that really fulfill you in your life?
No.
So think about that for a second. And this is not just about our IT support, MSP industry world. This is like any organization. So next time you go to work tomorrow, after you watch this video, go to work and then think, do I actually really enjoy this task that I'm doing? And I'm doing this every single day. If you don't, automate it. I know it sounds easy for someone who does it for a living.
But it is that easy. It is that easy. And this is why we have experts like you available to everybody, because we all know that we can't be brilliant at everything. And the things we are really good at, we stick to. And the things we're not good at, we find someone who is brilliant at. It's called building a network and building your bench strength. Any business owner out there, if you're not building your bench strength with experts like Lucas and in various different disciplines, you're holding yourself back. So there's so many opportunities to automate, streamline, get rid of the dull processes that nobody really wants to do anyway, and end up with a happier team who feel more fulfilled, more challenged in the higher level work, and achieve much more strategic outcomes for your business.
Absolutely. Well said.
Well, thank you so much, Lucas. So how do people, for those that don't know you, obviously this is going to be on your socials as well, but for those looking at it from the Alchemy 2 socials, how do we find you if we want to make our life less dull in business?
The great thing is I have a unique name, Lucas Meadowcroft. If you Google me, I'm the only one in the world, and you can find me on any social platform. My email address is lucas@tribu.ai. Literally just honestly reach out to me, send me a message. If we can't help you directly, we definitely can help you indirectly. I've grown a pretty big network over the years, so I'm happy to pass you on to the right person to make something happen in your business. The other thing I can just say is if you're a business owner watching this, listen to your staff. They have amazing ideas. Let them be heard, because that could actually transform your business forever.
Very wise words from someone who's very connected and run many, many businesses himself. So thank you so much, Lucas. It's been awesome chatting to you about this. And I think it's a really exciting area. It helps dispel the myth that machine learning and AI is about making people redundant and making them unemployed. It's really, really not. It's about moving forward and being the best versions of our business self that we can. So very, very happy to be able to support you with this and share the word.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We'll chat soon.